The text pinged on my phone, like a fuse about to ignite. I read it, reread it, and still couldn't make sense of the words. Don't be jealous. Real men don't care if I go out with my boss tonight. She had sent it with a little winking emoji. A joke? Or something else? My stomach knotted as I stared at the screen. I wanted to laugh, to brush it off, but a chill ran down my spine. I thought back to that morning. She kissed me goodbye as usual, the scent of her perfume lingering in the air like a faint warning I refused to notice. She looked at me with that same confident smile, the one that had always made me melt, the one I now wondered if I really knew. "I have a late office dinner tonight," she said, as though it were nothing. And in that instant, a seed of doubt, small and insidious, planted itself in my mind. I tried to shake it off, busy myself with work, but every notification from her phone made my heart leap. Hours dragged, and I told myself I was overthinking. Real men don't care, right? That's what she had said. But late that night, when she was supposed to be at her office party, I noticed a subtle slip, a call she answered quietly, a smile she hid too quickly, a nervous glance at the phone. My stomach churned. The next day, a colleague at work mentioned seeing her laughing with someone after the office dinner. The name slipped out casually. Mark, her ex. I froze mid-step, the world blurring around me. Mark, the man I had tried to forget, the one who had once been part of her life. My pulse raced. Denial first, as always. She couldn't, after all we'd built. But the doubt wouldn't leave. I confronted her gently that evening, my voice a mix of calm and panic. "Did Mark come to the dinner?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She looked at me with an unreadable expression. "He was there for a moment," she said, her tone light. "Just catching up. You know how it is." The words hit me like a cold slap. Just catching up, but the unease had taken root too deeply. I started noticing the small things I had ignored for years, the lingering texts, the little lies, the sudden secrecy about her schedule. Every instinct screamed that something was wrong. I didn't want to believe it, but I had to see for myself. Weeks passed. I found myself watching, listening, piecing together fragments. One evening, I saw it, a fleeting glance, a hand brushing hers, a whispered laugh in the dim light of a restaurant. My chest tightened, and my mind screamed denial, bargaining, anger, all at once. When I finally confronted her, the tension was electric. "You're hiding something," I said, my voice trembling. She met my eyes, and for a moment, I thought she would crumble. Instead, she sighed, a long, weary exhale that felt like surrender. "It's not what you think," she began. But the truth in her eyes told me otherwise. The betrayal, the secret moments, the choices that excluded me, they were all real. My world felt like it had cracked, the floor beneath me giving way. I had always believed in us, in the quiet stability of our marriage, and suddenly it felt like a lie I had been living. I couldn't shout. I couldn't cry. I just stood there, staring at the woman I had loved deeply, and felt a grief that was both sudden and profound. "How long?" I whispered. She couldn't answer. Silence filled the room, louder than any confession. The next weeks were a blur. Conversations became barbed, glances sharpened with distrust, and the home we had built together felt like a fragile facade. I grappled with anger, heartbreak, and the quiet, gnawing shame of having been blind. And yet, even in the pain, a strange clarity emerged. I understood, painfully, that love was never enough to shield from human flaws, choices, and betrayal. One night, as I packed my things to stay elsewhere, she came to me, eyes glistening with something I couldn't name, remorse, fear, loss. "I never meant to hurt you," she whispered, and I wanted to believe her. But trust, once shattered, is a fragile mirror. You can see your reflection, but the cracks remain. I left that night, the door closing softly behind me, the echo of her voice lingering. I walked through the city streets, empty and cold, each step carrying both the weight of loss and the faint pulse of freedom. The betrayal was real, the heartbreak undeniable, but in the wreckage, I felt the first stirrings of self I had neglected, resilient, cautious, but alive. In the quiet of my own apartment, away from the lies and whispers, I finally understood some truths hurt more than words, and some endings teach you the hardest lessons. I had loved, I had been betrayed, and I would survive because the heart, though fragile, has a way of mending, slowly, painfully, but inevitably, and maybe one day I would trust again.